Hello, and welcome back to the Holistic Health and Weight Loss Podcast. Today, I am interviewing my very first guest, so I'm so excited for you to listen to this conversation. Her name is Lynne Wadsworth, and we discuss all things holistic health and energy. So if you have been looking to get more energy in your day-to-day, then you are going to want to listen to her tips in today's episode. So Lynne Wadsworth is the owner and founder of Holistic Health and Wellness LLC and curator of the Energized Healthy Women's Club. She is an AADP certified holistic health practitioner who earned her certification through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition in New York. She is also a certified wellness cooking instructor. Lynne's area of expertise involves working with women who are in approaching or in midlife and who are tired of the changes they see and experience on a daily basis. She helps them achieve a higher level of health, allowing them to experience more energy, less belly bloat, fewer mood swings, headaches, sugar cravings, and weight loss. She believes that living in health and wellness takes in many areas of our lives, not just with diet and healthy eating. She helps her clients make permanent changes. Having been a yo-yo dieter and sugar addict for many years, plus suffering from an autoimmune disorder and severe migraines, her own personal experience helps her gain insight to be able to more fully help her clients without judgment, change their lives one step at a time. Her passion and desire is to help women experience optimal health, lose weight, feel healthy, energized, and rejuvenated. Life is not over just because you have reached a certain phase in life. In fact, it can be fun, joyful, and fulfilling. So welcome, Lynne. I'm so glad to have you on this podcast.
Thank you.
So tell us a bit about yourself and what you do.
So I am a health/life coach working in the holistic field, and I help women in various ways, but in a nutshell, really women who are getting toward that mid-stage of life, or maybe in that mid-stage of life where they've got excess weight and belly bloat and just don't feel themselves. And I help them to get more energized again, lose some of that belly fat and feel more, and I hate to say normal, but we feel kind of out of the norm when we're in that phase of life. Mm-hmm. So I've been doing this for 9 years and absolutely love it, because my thing is to see people's lives transformed and to optimize their health, but to do it in a way where it's easy. So I'm the kind of coach that does it in easy little steps so that it can be a lifestyle change for your entire life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I'm definitely all about that too, like the baby steps and turning it into a lifestyle that you can do throughout life, right? Instead of temporary solutions.
Yes.
Yeah. So what about your story? Have you been through something that got you to this point?
Yes. So I had been a professional yo-yo dieter all of my life. You name the diet and I've probably done it. Mm-hmm. I honestly thought I was a big boned person because I was always pretty heavy. And it wasn't until I got into this kind of work that I realized when I lost weight that, oh, hey, so I can put my hand around my wrist. I'm very small boned, and it was a surprise to me. So I'd been so busy losing the weight, gaining it back and gaining more back. And then my health suffered. And my migraines that had been after my first child, maybe monthly, became a daily thing. And so I was in pain all the time. I had autoimmune diseases. I had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, just because of the way I had abused my body and the way that I had got to the point I was anorexic at one time and just didn't know how to take care of me. So that was when I decided that I needed to do something. And I went back to college to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And it happened to coincide with the time that I was lucky enough to be enrolled into a holistic program at one of our local hospitals for migraines. And what they were teaching us in holistic recovery with migraines really went hand in hand with what I was learning at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. So I took all of those pieces and applied them into my life. So it was not like a small baby step thing for me because I was in excruciating pain, hooked on Vicodin at the time. So I did a quick fix type of thing. And then with what I learned at the Institute, I was able to incorporate those healthy lifestyle changes to learn, hey, I didn't have to diet and deprive myself. I could live a healthy life and love what I eat and still have those goodies when I wanted them. And so now I really try to be non-judgmental with people because I have been there, done that. And it's one thing to have the desire to change, but being able to change can be very hard.
Yeah, definitely. So it's interesting that you said that you didn't take like the baby step approach. So in what circumstances would you recommend the baby step versus going like more all in?
For most people, I would recommend the baby steps. For me, because it was a disease that was debilitating for me. I mean, I was working full time, having to go in with migraines every day. And so my migraines could be to where I would have to leave work, pull off at the side of the road and throw up. I mean, this was not just a little bit of pain.
Yeah.
So for me, I had to make dramatic changes to see that change in my life. Plus, they were working on getting me off the Vicodin and getting me back to a normal state. So for me, it was a quick fix. And what happened out of that was I got off my blood pressure meds. My migraines went down to mostly here in Florida when our weather changes. That can just be awful. And then I put into practice everything that they had taught me, everything I'd learned at the Institute. And then it became more of a baby step approach as I then had to live a daily lifestyle like that. So if you can, doing the baby steps and getting into the habit of doing it, I mean, whoever they are, say that 30 days builds a habit. And that's what I like to build with people. And I say one at a time, because sometimes it's overwhelming for people. Yeah. They might want to lose weight, but there's so many different steps in that because I look at it holistically. So that takes in the spiritual, the emotional, the relationships, the mindset, every part of us. So baby steps is really the one that sticks with people most. And that's mostly what I teach in my one-on-one coaching, my group programs.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you'd said that you help people become more energized. So tell us a bit about that. How do you help people with energy? How does a holistic approach help with that?
So I was one of these people that by 3:00 in the afternoon, I literally was slumped over my desk. And it was so bad because I would be sitting there and before I would know it, I had fallen asleep, even just sitting. And I was lucky nobody ever walked in and really caught me, but it was just awful. From morning to night, I would just be tired all the time. Well, when I started changing my lifestyle, so it's not just about the sleep. The sleep is a huge part of it. And obviously we want to be getting 7 to 8 hours of good quality sleep, not just sleep, but good quality. Yeah. But a big part of it was what I was eating. So you have to learn to be in tune with your body and listen to how your body reacts. And I was so unaware of that. So, for example, one of my favorite foods, well, other than chocolate, which of course really didn't give me a high and make me energized, it actually did the opposite for me. But like certain foods can give you energy, but yet processed foods and sugars, if you're eating them all the time, will just put you into that energy slump. Or if you're trying to get what I call false energy, say from your coffee to your monster drinks that are going to give you energy, those are all like chocolate. People often eat that to give them a boost, but it's temporary because our blood sugar spikes. It goes up and down and up and down. And so to have energy, we want that even-keeled blood sugar throughout the day. And of course, diabetics know that very well, but a lot of other people don't even think about it. And even when you're dealing with migraines, if you skip meals or you're not eating good energy producing foods, then you're going to find those same spikes in blood sugar are going to often trigger a headache. So you've got to always remember that you want a balanced meal. You want your protein, heavy on protein, lower on carbs, and lots of veggies. Portion control is a big thing, because if we overeat, that's going to make us feel dragged out. And it's interesting to know that it takes our bodies 20 minutes for our mind to say to our stomach, hey, you're full. So when we gulp down our food, as here in the US, we do so often, you don't give your body time to process the food. So if you're eating slowly and mindfully and chewing your food, you'll find that you eat less. And then when you eat your dinner at night, try to eat it earlier in the evening and not eat after, say, your cat might be 7 or 8 o'clock, because that way you're going to be more energized. If you're eating sugary snacks later into the night, that's going to mess with your sleep and mess with the energy. So it's really what we're eating that mostly produces that. But of course, stress also does the same thing. So if you find yourself stressed out, if you're not learning to manage your stress, you're going to have the same thing. So that's where it comes in holistically, dealing with your stress, managing your mindset, managing your sleep, managing your relationships. Because if we're not all good at home, then we're off kilter. So it's all about a balance, a healthy balance in our life.
Yeah, definitely. Oh man, you just gave like so much stuff there. But it's true, like it's all intertwined, right? And that's what we talk about when we talk about the holistic lifestyle. I call my method like the transformational weight loss method. I deal with a lot of people who want to lose weight, but like it transforms you in so many ways, but you also are putting in all of those things: sleep, stress, the balanced meals, like it's just all of it, blood sugar, everything you just said. It matters for so many parts of your life, right? Like you said, you had migraines before and all these different things. And so since you just like gave so much stuff, so what would be like the number one spot to start for someone who just wants to just really start having more energy?
So if they want to start having more energy, my number one thing is to ditch the processed foods and to ditch the sugar. So I realize I'm a sugar addict, chocolate addict, so I know that's not always easy. And that's where I'm saying easy steps. Don't all at once. If you're binging in some area and you're finding it hard, then it may be an all or nothing thing for you. But if you want to take the slow steps and start switching it out and just determine that, okay, I'm only going to have half of what I would normally have, or I'm going to switch it up for something chocolatey that's healthy. So there are lots of healthy alternatives for chocolate that can satisfy that. But the processed food is huge, because we go in the stores, we look at the packaging, as you well know, and it's saying healthy. Well, they only have to have like one healthy piece of food in that package to package it as healthy. But if you look at the rest of the labels, it's got all this stuff you can't pronounce. It's over processed. So think about what you're picking up and try to go to anything that's whole food based, anything that comes from the earth and that's going to give you that sustainable energy. So processed foods, sugars, those are the two biggest things that are going to help you gain energy and lose weight when you give them up.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, a lot of people I don't think realize just how much that affects energy, right? And just your overall lifestyle.
Right.
And yeah, like marketing can be so misleading, right? On packaged food. It's crazy. Like I just did something on my stories the other day, like calling one out, because it was like claiming all of these things to make you think that it's healthy, right? Like it's like keto certified. Keto's huge right now. So of course we got keto certified on there, and like low carb, or like you'll see low fat, or all these different things. And then you look at the ingredients and they're there was trans fat in that one. Like, and someone might
Yes.
not recognize that ingredient,
Yes.
but like, yeah, so it can be really difficult. That's why, yeah, definitely just going the whole foods route can just eliminate that, playing that
Yes.
game, right?
Yes.
So,
And I think the misnomer here is that people think, well, instead I've got to go buy the whole foods, but the low fat or no fat version. And there's nothing further from the truth, because you're going to eat less if you eat the whole fat version of, say, yogurt, or you're eating the Greek yogurt. It's got the fiber and the nutrients in there that are going to keep you full and help you feel better.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I definitely don't agree with that whole, well, I mean, it's being proven wrong, right? The low fat. Yeah. That was a mistake in the nutrition world for a bit,
Yes.
but we're slowly coming back from it, I think. So many people eat like so many processed foods, right? So it can be really difficult to get rid of them, and to go the whole foods route. So how do you recommend doing that when you're really like, oh man, like I eat packaged foods like constantly?
So they have to start thinking about, and one of the easiest places for them to start is their snacks. So I offer a pantry clean out for people, and I used to do it in person before COVID, but that can be very expensive for people. So, either donate what you know you really no longer want to eat, or find, we have metropolitan ministries here where they'll take food anytime. If you really want to radically change. If you can't do it that way, then just start adding one healthy snack and one healthy meal until you can get rid of what's in your cupboard, and what's in your refrigerator that's not good. That's why I say don't make it overcomplicated, because then you're going to fail. You're setting yourself up for failure. So take your time to do it step by step. If it's just one meal that you're changing at a time, then that's awesome. Just determine, I am not going to eat packaged processed foods at this meal, and I'm going to have one snack a day that's healthy. And we can easily fix healthy snacks to take to work with us. It's not a big deal.
And yeah, even if you're just doing like one new, like you were saying, like the baby steps, just one new thing, and do that every day, and then it'll become a habit, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you had mentioned also about false energy, like from coffee, caffeine. So what, a lot of people rely on coffee, right? And they can't really see like a life without it even, right?
Right.
Yes. So what, well, first of all, what's your opinion on coffee consumption in general? Like, do you recommend they have it at all or cut it out completely?
I am a coffee drinker. Even though I'm from England, I am not a tea drinker, because I drink my tea with milk and sugar. So, long ago I had to cut that out. However, my husband, a native Floridian, drinks his English tea every day. But for me, I used to drink coffee from the time I got up until the time I went to bed. And actually it never stopped me from sleeping. I was so much in the habit. As I got older, I couldn't do that. But there is absolutely nothing wrong, and studies show that it can be quite healthy to have a cup or two a day. It's like anything in your life, it needs to be in moderation. However, if you're loading up your coffee with lots of sugar and lots of cream, then you need to take a look at what am I putting in there and see if there are some alternatives. So one of my naturopathic friends, in one of her courses that I did, showed, I think it was Coffee Mate, that if you leave Coffee Mate for months, it expands and expands, and then it explodes, and it just kind of shows you how bad it is for you. But you can buy some healthier alternatives. You can even go into Starbucks and get the healthier alternatives. And if you are a person that drinks those cold ones, or you like lots of cream and sugar, you're going to have to change it bit by bit, because I was a coffee drinker that liked cream and liked sugar, and I never thought I could drink black coffee. But I can only tell you that if somebody gives it to me by mistake now, I about throw up. It's so disgusting to me. So if you do it bit by bit and you start cutting down what you're doing, if you can't cut out your creamer to begin with, start with a little bit of creamer and a little bit of oat milk or almond milk. But there are oat milk, almond milk alternatives for creamer in the store. And then if you can stand the taste of going to something like stevia, whether it's liquid or powder, then do that until you can kind of cut it down bit by bit.
Yeah, I totally relate to that. I used to drink very like it wasn't even coffee. It was just like sugar. Oh my God. I can't imagine trying that now. Like even when I do treat myself, I have to get it half sweet because it's just it's too sweet getting it the regular way. Like I can't do that anymore. I also drink my coffee black now. Although I don't see in my opinion, anything wrong with having like some fat in there, like some almond milk or like heavy cream, but you do have to be mindful of it for sure.
And often an alternative for your creamer is buying just regular heavy cream, fresh heavy cream. You don't need as much, but it gives you the taste.
Yeah. Totally. So maybe explain in case someone was confused by false energy. So what do you mean by false energy?
So false energy. So it really isn't true energy. You get your true energy from having a good, healthy walking or exercise routine, from your good foods, good sleep habits, stress reduction, all those holistic approaches. But that's why I call it false energy, because it's not really a true energy. It doesn't last. It's just here temporarily for us.
Right. So if someone wants to cut back on coffee, but they're looking for like a quick energy boost, say like midday, do you have anything, like any tips that would give them that?
Well, I think that when you're eating right all day long, then you've got that constant energy. It takes a while to get there, but that's what I found. I have constant energy, but even if you're eating just a handful of nuts, that can give you energy. You just have to remember it's in moderation. I think one serving of like almonds is only 24 almonds, which go pretty quickly. Thinking about making healthy desserts. So you can make like an avocado chocolate pudding that's very healthy for you. And because it's got cacao powder in, it's going to give you a kind of energy boost. It just depends on the individual as to how they feel they're getting that boost and what they're trying to give up so that they can find that energy boost. And actually, if you're drinking water all day long, even if you infuse it with something like lemon water, that can give you a boost in energy. Cucumber water, that can give you a boost in energy. If you don't like plain water, infuse your water, put a little bit of fruit in there and let it sit. You'll get a little sweet feeling, but drinking enough water keeps you energized throughout the day.
I actually did like a whole podcast episode a couple episodes ago about water, and part of it was about how it can keep you energized and really like help with those afternoon slumps and those afternoon hunger cravings and things like that too. It's amazing because like a lot of the time we're just dehydrated and we don't realize it, right?
Yes.
Water's
one of the major causes of headaches and migraines is dehydration.
Yeah, people don't realize it, and we're pretty dehydrated in our society these days too. We don't drink enough water most of the time. So are there any myths that you've heard that you could debunk when it comes to energy?
Well, a lot of people seem to think that as long as they're eating what they consider to be healthy, or they're eating off I really shouldn't throw this out there, but they're eating off the government plate, they're going to be healthy. But the government plate really is not in balance. Balance really is such a big key, and people don't really tell us that each meal should have each of these balanced portions to it. So one of the biggest myths I like to debunk when I'm teaching classes or anything is the one around which we've already talked about, the low fat, no fat, because they think that it's a healthy food, it's going to give them energy. But what I like to tell people is it's the same with pure white rice. They have stripped all of the nutrients out of that original, say they've got yogurt, they've stripped all of the nutrients out, so that it can be low fat or no fat. And what they've done is they've added chemicals, preservatives, sugar that's a sugar substitute that's so totally unhealthy for us. And if you eat that way, you're not going to find, for one thing, it's not going to keep you full, because it's basically nothing that you're eating. There's no nutritional value, no fiber that's good enough in there. So that, to me, and as you say, they are debunking that a bit, but that's a big thing that I'm still finding in the classes that I teach at the University of South Florida. People still are hooked on this no fat, low fat type thing, and that is such a myth. And the other myth is that fat is going to make me fat. Fat is not going to make you fat. Fat is something you have to have at each meal. You need a serving of fat, because that is part of the balance and what's going to keep you energized. It's not going to make you fat because it's going to burn the right way in your body.
Yeah. So you mentioned like the low fat or no fat products having like sugar substitutes and things and additives. Is that always the case when it comes to low fat or no fat, or do you really just need to look at the ingredients?
You really need to learn to read labels. And then I teach a class on that, because it's so hard to read the labels. But what I recommend to people is, don't buy something that's got more than 5 ingredients. And if you can't pronounce what's on that label, you don't want to be putting it in your body. That's the easiest way to think about it. Yeah.
If there was one thing that my audience could take away from this episode, what would you want that one thing to be? What's the most important thing?
I think I would want people to know that they shouldn't be in overwhelm when it comes to their health and wellness, whether it's weight loss, whether they're facing high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, whatever it is. They shouldn't be in overwhelm, because it can be as easy as these little baby steps that you take, because you shouldn't be looking at what's going to happen this next week. You should be looking at what's going to be happening for the rest of my life, and take it in small chunks and fit in those healthy pieces on a slow basis, so that you don't get into overwhelm. Because so many people look at the internet, there's so much information out there, and it's overwhelming. And if you do it one piece at a time, one habit at a time, it's going to last a lifetime.
Definitely. I love that. Okay, so where can people find you if they would like to connect with you?
So my website is holistic - like a hyphen, health and wellness, all spelled out, .com. And my Facebook is also Holistic Health and Wellness LLC. And if you just search for Holistic Health and Wellness, you'll find it. My group is the Energized Healthy Women's Club. I'm on Facebook more than I am IG, but IG is just at Lynne Wadsworth.
Okay, perfect. And I'll link all of that in the show notes as well for people. And yeah, so thank you so much for coming on this podcast. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope that you can take something away from this, gain some energy in your day-to-day life, and I hope you have a fantastic week. I will talk to you again next week.